Okay, the race here today is from Donington Park circuit, and we've recorded a race previously on this track recently, so I'm not going to do the reconnaissance lap. Let's go ahead and start the race. We have 11 cars in the race, and we qualified third. So here we go.
You've got 1 gallon left.
Drifted out a little bit wide on that turn. See one of the back markers spun back there. I got the 7 car to my inside, hit it up the hill. I took kind of a wide line through there and just tried to keep a high speed mid-corner there. We're now on the inside going into this hairpin here, or the chicane, I should say. So we had the preferred position going into there. Let's back that up, look at that from a different angle. So coming out of this last turn, I just stayed to the outside because that would be a defensive line coming into this next turn. And so if we look at this from the chase view, so if we go back 2 cars, actually maybe we should look at cockpit view here. So this car here we're riding along with, he kind of has no space to do anything. He has a great draft on the 7 car in front of him. So these 2 guys are on the preferred racing line. I'm on more of defensive line on the inside there. This A car is having to back off because he's not sure what we're going to do. Plus, you're not going to fit through there side by side. So the 7 car gives up the. Oops, sorry. Screwed up my buttons here. Sorry about that. Let me back up here. Oops. Okay. So we're not going to fit through here side by side. And since I have the inside line through here, this car on the outside kind of has to sort of give up the position or try to force the issue, but he's not really in a good position to do that. And he also can't really brake. The 7 car can't really brake early because he has the 8 right on his butt. So these guys are kind of committed and not really in a great position here. Let's switch cameras. Let's switch cars here. Sorry about this. There we go. So we're able to maintain that position. Then you see that green and black car was then making a move on the 7 and gets it done. I think they might touch right here. They touched right there, the 3 car, and the 7 car touched a little.
Sorry,
I think that was the 7 car apologizing to a 3 car, and then I spin. So let's see how this happens here. So we're coming in here, and I'm too far wide. I didn't turn in where I needed to. Not sure why I messed that up. But I should be way closer to this inside of here, kind of where you see this 2 car. And so I got my braking. So normally I brake right on top of this rubber mark. Maybe I didn't brake soon enough or hard enough. Braked a little bit late. Yeah, I braked a little too late and didn't get the car turned enough. And then now I'm still on the brake as I'm turning more and more. And that's just a recipe for disaster. So we get it going again. Have to kind of be careful with the other cars coming through here. And now we got our work cut out for us. Now we are running 11th out of 11 cars. And we have It's a 15 lap race, and we just started lap 2. So we got a lot of ground to make up. So we spun, but could have been worse. Could have damaged the car, or been farther back, or gotten a penalty, uh, um, uh, stop and go penalty or something like that. But now we're just at the back of the pack. So what I've been trying to do here is back up my turns, back up my braking, get my braking done a little earlier, and then get off the brake and carry a little bit more mid-corner speed. It was a tip I had gotten from somebody on a previous race on a different track. Um, he had followed me a little bit, and he was definitely class of the field. That was his recommendation, so um, took that to heart. I feel like this car here was 13 was kind of moving around a little bit. Let's back this up and look at this from a different angle. Um, so let's look at this from chase view, or maybe from cockpit view is actually better. Okay, so we're catching the 11 car. So he goes for the defensive line, it looks like, or maybe he's going to lift and then moves back onto the racing line. So then I go for the overtake on the inside, and then he cuts in early, and then we got that 4 car coming back onto the track. So now he kind of has to watch out for the 4 car. So yeah, that seemed like a lot of movement. Seemed kind of purposeful, maybe blocking or something, but I didn't bother saying anything about it. Was able to get by and didn't really want to have a conversation about it. Now it's just on to the next, seeing what we can do with these 2 guys in front of us. All right, so let's back that up and let's go through that from chase view. So here's where that move actually starts. Go cockpit actually. So as we're approaching this right-hand turn here, see where these cars here, and then watch how much farther to the left we get to try to make a wider arc into this upcoming right-hand turn and carry a little bit more speed, or get our braking done first and then get a good exit where we're accelerating out of the turn instead of still trying to get our turning done or pushing the left side of the track there. We're farther to the left, get our turning done, back on the throttle early. Got a little bit of a draft, back on the throttle. We're on the throttle early, and now it's paying off. Quickly dive to the inside of this car, surprise him, I think. So when I say surprise him, he's kind of following like drafting the car right in front of him, and I think did not expect uh, me to shoot up the inside. And the reason I say that is if you watch the wheel movements or you watch the car movements, yeah, maybe he saw me in the mirror coming. I thought I might have surprised him a little more. Um, he probably heard over the radio like car to your left and probably didn't expect that there. I would think. Okay, now this next car. So now we're coming up on a right-hand turn, and he is already to the right. So you'd normally want to be on the left-hand side of the track, and then cut to the right as you get to the turn. So his line is not optimal there. And then slides across as I would expect because he trying to get a lot of turning done. So we do the crossover thing and come right back to the inside. Uh, so I got to the throttle a little bit late on purpose, figuring he's not going to be able to stay to the inside and he's carrying this much speed. He's going to have to come kind of across our nose here. And so we wait for that to happen or try to time it so that once it looks like he's clear, we're back on the throttle hard. Um, Playing with the throttle there, you can hear I didn't want to get into the back of him until I knew he was clear on that side. And then here, just kind of diving it up the inside, which is kind of the normal racing line. And then uh, now we got these two behind us. So now it's just trying to be perfect going through this chicane here, carry as much speed as possible. So it doesn't really look like anything, but let's go onboard real quick. So what we try to do, I'll do half speed here. Try to almost hit those left pylons and then almost run through two of the right pylons. So our tire, let's look at this from rear chase. So you can see that we're basically as close as you can get. You still got to keep a tire on the track. Um, so trying to use up all this curb here to try to carry as much speed here, kind of straight line this thing as much as possible instead of swinging out and then swinging back this way. All that slows you down and you got to cover more distance or you got to slow down more to be able to do that and cover more distance. So if we look at the car behind us, which is this guy, let's see as he gets. So these guys get it pretty good too. Um, that was good. Let's see. Looks like his car is still kind of twisted there. So he gets to very good touching that pylon. Um, Go back one for other car. Also gets through here quite good. Um, so yeah, people have figured that out. All right. Now we got a little bit of breathing room. Um, Back to the car behind us. We pulled out a little bit going through that chicane, even though everybody seemed to get the right line. Maybe they braked a little harder for that chicane. We got probably almost a second back to the whatever that is, a 12 car or whatever behind us. So now, next victim will be the 5 car in front of us there. Stick with camera 2. Oh, somebody went off. This 6 car here, 8 car, um, had gone off the track. I had to lift a little bit as he was coming back on. I just didn't want to catch him right at my exit of the turn while he's kind of coming back on the turn. But I'm trying to pounce as quickly as I can. And the reason for that is people kind of lose a little bit of sort of confidence as you make a mistake. So kind of the same move here. We got a good, it was actually right here where we made up some ground. Um, so do cockpit. Ah, okay. So we get our braking done. We get out a little bit wider. Downshift again, back on the throttle hard. Blind kind of where that curb was because the car was kind of blocking it. And a lot of people kind of go out a bit wider here. You saw that on the previous overtake on the previous lap or 2 laps before. Cars kind of go out here because they're coming up on a left-hand turn, so they kind of give themselves a wide arc. But that means they have to run more distance, running out wider. And you don't really need to. You don't need that much of an arc in here. And so it gives me a chance to put my car to the inside right here. So now in the car in front of his mirror, he's got to think, uh-oh, is this person gonna behind me gonna try to pull off a pass here? He's gonna throw it up the inside. They got to think about it now, uh, or they can try closing the door as we get closer, but it's kind of a little bit too late right now. They're gonna have to start closing the door pretty quickly here. Um, so this is the problem with running a little bit too wide out here. Um, you can do it when you're by yourself and it doesn't really cost you any time. But when you do it and there's somebody right behind you who then pulls to the inside, now you're kind of compromised. Let's go half speed. Uh, so he's turning in, but he can't use all the track because he's already heard there's somebody to your inside. He's hearing on the radio. And I every lap aimed left tire, aiming for this curb on the left here to try to use all the track. I actually usually kind of put a little tire on the grass right before that and put the left tire over this dirt up here, going through here. So let's look at this real quick just to see where our, you can see we're using all the track on entry right there. Okay. Now we get our braking done in a straight line, downshift twice, I think. Get it into third, and then back on the throttle. I wasn't able to pull all the way right like I normally would because I was leaving a room and probably carrying a little bit too much speed. Um, so I got to kind of lift a little bit, play with the throttle on exit, not to drift too wide. But he closed up under braking and draft a little bit there, I think. I didn't run a defensive line. I felt he wasn't really close enough to try to take advantage. So I figured it would be slower for me to run a defensive line. So I'm basically running my normal line and just trying to hit my marks. Pulled a little more quickly to the left of the track there. Just trying to be a little bit sneaky about trying to break the draft a little. Caught too much curb on the inside there and bounced the car a bit. It doesn't cost you too much time though. Maybe a tenth. A little bit tighter line going through that turn. Hit the apex a little bit better. Don't like that camera angle. Um, again here, little bit better line. Close enough to draft for sure. Trying to stay right in his draft. And then wait. I thought about trying to dive to the inside and out brake there, but decided against it. Going into one. Here's a good example of this. So Again, you can see here, we're farther to the left, entering this turn, making a wider arc, getting our downshifting done more in a straight line, getting our braking done more in a straight line, and then watch the throttle. Back on the throttle 80%, 85%, 80%, back on the throttle hard, 80, 90, 100, using all the track on exit. I got the car turned, but that's all the grip she has, and went right out to the edge of that curb. But now we're carrying a little bit more speed through here. So right now we are doing 94 miles an hour. And what's the car in front of us doing? He's doing 92 miles an hour. So it's not a big difference, but that little bit is important. Again, diving up left side. I think I surprised him there with that one. Um, so let's look at this. So then that messes up his entry into the next turn a bit, having to compromise of probably not expecting me to make that move. I don't think it's a place most people would try to pass, but seemed to be working. And I knew I was in the hole from the start of having spun and uh, been in last to end of lap one. So I was taking no prisoners. He outbroke himself trying to I don't know, get close under braking there. Um, almost hit the back of my car. He might have slid the front end a little bit or just tried to carry a little too much speed. You can see red a little bit when you get a little angry somebody passed you or trying too hard to pass them back and overdrive the car. That's probably what happened. I make that mistake all the time. That was quite good going through turn one, using all the track. Lap we on? This is lap 7. This might be the fat. Oof, that stepped out uh, a bit aggressively. I almost lost it. Yeah, this looks like it's probably my fastest lap. That turn looked good. Yeah, turn 1 looked good. Let's probably turn 3 or 4 look really good. Let's see how good this hairpin is. This is this turn coming up. You can lose about half a second if you drift wide if you miss the apex. So that was lap 7. Let's look at our laps and see where lap 7 was not our fastest, but it was a 142, 823. Our fastest was actually lap 15. Interesting. I always like when the last lap is the fastest one. Continuing to push hard the whole time. So as you get closer to the front, it starts getting a little tougher to catch cars and pass cars, as these guys are quicker. So we're working lap 8 of 15. And we're currently in 5th place. So we were back in 11th. I think 2 cars had spun that we got by, and then the rest of them were for position. So passed about 4 cars, I think, so far, competitively. And I think the 7 car we were right with um, on lap 1 before I made a mistake. So the other thing when you're following behind somebody for this long, you see where you're faster. It's easier for the car behind to see where they're faster than the car in front. The car behind can also see it, but it's not nearly as clear. They have to kind of guess at it more, where the car behind knows for sure exactly where it is and can see also where the car in front of them is positioning their car versus what you're doing. So this becomes really useful when you're trying to figure out where you might be able to find a spot to pass. If they're always leaving a little bit of room somewhere, that might be an opportune place to put your car when the time comes. If you can be close enough when you approach that spot, then try to pounce at that moment. Let's look at that. So I had noticed, speaking of different lines, I had noticed he was taking a wide entry here. I think this is, oops, I think this is Douglas in front of me here. Yeah, Douglas. Um, I had noticed he kept taking a kind of a wider entry into that last hairpin. Um, so we break right about over that rubber mark, and then watch, he stays really wide. He goes even wider, and that's just the line he was taking the whole every time through there. But this time we were close enough that I kind of went ahead and put my car inside. Um, Getting out of here, you had to be a little careful getting the power down. He had a better exit with that kind of wider line. Um, but because I took the inside line going through there, I'm now closer on exit than I was previous laps. And so now we're going to get a better draft. Duck out as we approach braking. He sticks the nose back in there a little bit and then kind of thinks better of it. That was the wiggle, I think. Uh, yeah, that was the kind of a fierce wiggle. Um, let's look at the hands here. We'll do this in half speed. Coming out of here for some reason, it caught weird, and I had a handful right there. Um, that was a half speed. Let's look at that at real time. It just caught the curb weird, or something happened here. But that was definitely a moment. Um, I lost it there in a previous race. Um, Stick with camera 2. He got a little bit of a run here. Took a defensive line a little bit there and saw he wasn't going to pounce, so move right back to the racing line. Again, defensive line a bit here, it looks like. I'm not all the way against the grass. I just felt he had a little bit of a run. It was close, so I was going to run defensive line and not deviate from it. I really hate when people move around, take a defensive line, they move back to the racing line, under braking, that sort of thing. So this is where's the line? So now we're in fourth. This is lap 11, and that's basically the race. Car in front and third was a few seconds in front. Um, wasn't able to make up any more positions here. Something happens with Doug, I think, here. I think he's trying hard to catch, and I think he loses it right here. Yeah. Um, so that was unfortunate. He had run a good race, but then I think these guys might have gotten into it or something here too. Let's stick with this for a minute. Oh, put a wheel off. Ran a little wide. 5 cars make it closing in massively. 7 cars kind of in no man's land. Oof.
Really?
It's like the 5 cars having some connection problems. And all right. Oh, bounced it over the inside curb there. I could hear it. That didn't sound very smooth at all. Yeah, there. Bounced those inside curbs. All right, so let's look at the lap times. 158 on the first lap. It's slow because she started the race and then I spun coming back onto the front straightaway at the end of that lap. Um, in the next lap, that would have cost us some time too because that was the beginning of the next lap shortly thereafter. So 144.9 second lap, 143s down into 142.478 for lap 5. Lap 7 I thought looked particularly good, but it was only a 142.8 and 143. And then our last lap we pulled off 142.419. So that was a race. We finished fourth. We started third, fell back to 11th, and then ran our way back up to fourth. So that was fun. That was enjoyable. I wish I hadn't made that mistake, but it was fun to pass some cars and find a spot to do it. Thanks for watching.